Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. My daughter Rose, 19, was always a smart girl. She did well in school and got a full ride to a great school that is local. She's been living with me and going to school and is doing well in school. She got this new boyfriend a few months ago who I don't like. I can smell the BS. He constantly lets her down but covers it up with a big smile and grand promises. Despite my warnings, they're still dating, and now she's pregnant. I offered to pay for the A and take a few days off work to take her and help her recover. She said no. She's going to marry her boyfriend, and they'll be one big happy family. He wants to move into my house, and she'll drop out of school while he works to support them. He's a bartender who doesn't go to college. I laughed at this idea, which made her mad. She told me that since he can't move in, I'll need to step up and help with the baby more. Y'all, she has always been a very sensible child. I don't know where this has all come from. I flat out told her that if she thinks she's grown enough to have and raise a child and get married, then she needs to move out soon and manage being an adult with the child's father. I raised the one child I wanted. I do not want any more children living in my home. I told her I'd pay for diapers here and there and I'd still visit her, but this baby is 0% my responsibility. If she chooses adoption, which I'm pretty sure she wouldn't, I'll be willing to help her navigate that. She won't talk to me. My husband, her stepdad, is staying out of this, but thinks I could help more. I told him he's welcome to go over and babysit for her, and that shut him up. Am I the a-hole here? Edit. I had my daughter when I was 19. I was married to her father who was in the military. I still graduated college on time at the age of 22, and everything worked out well for us, until he died in service. The fact that it worked out okay for me is clouding my daughter's judgment, I think. Her trashy boyfriend can't even offer her or her child health insurance. It is a completely different scenario. Also, so many of you are suggesting I still let her live with me and keep the baby. This is not happening. I do not want a baby in my home, period. And I'm not babysitting either. I'll do normal grandparent stuff like show up to birthday parties and buy gifts here and there, but that's it. If OP lets them move in, they will live off OP and her husband and make it miserable for OP when she wants them out. And guess what? They're going to have another baby. So it's good OP is standing her ground. It's not her responsibility to raise her grandkids. Help, of course, but not raise. Trouble SG says, I have a friend who was in the same situation with her daughter about 16 years ago. They let her stay, but told her it was the one and only time and set all sorts of parameters. Now, 16 years later, that same daughter and her now 5 kids still live with them. They've put them out several times and try to make it on their own, but it breaks their hearts to see the kids not be clean or be fed right. The kids always beg to come back. It is an awful situation. Prize Bumblebee 2192 says, not the a-hole. If she's doing grown-up things and making grown-up decisions, she needs to learn how to adult. She wants live-in childcare and complete financial support from you for her child and husband. They want a free ride with no responsibility to themselves or their child. They'll never move out if you allow this. You killed my father. Prepare to die. If you know, says. Not the a-hole. Just tell her, this was your choice, not mine. You can have an A, I'll support that. You can leave him, I'll support that. You can move out and continue with this path you chose, and I will support you. But I refuse to step up and help, because you made a poor decision. It's not my responsibility to support you, your child, and your lower boyfriend. I also do not need to do anything in this situation, including step up and help with your baby more. I have raised you, as it was my responsibility to do so. But you're grown now. Looks like it's your turn. Wow, the entitlement. All you have to say is no thank you, frankly. My dad had an affair around the time he and my mom conceived me, 16 male, and my half-sister Jessie, 16 female, was the result. My parents already had my sister Winter, 18 female, and after me, my parents had my brothers Hayes, 14 male, and Jonah, 13 male. We found out Jessie was our half-sister 6 years ago, and my parents' marriage broke up over the revelation. Dad ended up getting back together with Jesse's mom, which broke up her marriage, which happened after she and my dad had broken up. Jesse knew my dad and they had a relationship. Winter and I knew her from school, but we were not close to her. Only after the big reveal did we really talk to Jessie, and she told us we had to treat her as a real sister, and that her parents said we would always have to include her now because she was our family. That's been her attitude ever since. She does not think any of us can talk to each other unless she's involved. She jumps into conversations. She tries to rewrite history to include herself. Jonah tried to get a little closer to her, and she yelled at him a few times in response because he wasn't doing it the way she wanted, meaning he wasn't erasing history. First time it was over Universal Studios, and she said our first time there should be together. He told her we had already been, and she yelled at him. The second time was when she talked about all the Christmases we spent together, and he mentioned we hadn't spent one together yet. Whenever we have family time at Dad's house, she will come up with stories of things we have not done in her attempts to change the past. She'll also make comments about our mom getting in the way of the family, and normally it results in a fight with me and Winter versus her, because we do not tolerate that crap. So we don't have the best relationship with her. I can't say any of us hate her. Maybe Winter does. But I don't consider her a real sister or a real member of my family. And in 2 years, I won't speak to her or my dad. I'm pissed with him for a lot of stuff. So this year is the first year since the divorce that my mom can take us on vacation, and she has decided to make it a special one because Winter goes to college in the fall. Jesse found out about this via Dad, because he wasn't happy with Mom taking advantage of the chance to extend custody during the summer for 2 weeks for a vacation, and he wasn't happy because Winter said no to going on vacation with his family this year. She no longer sees Dad because she's 18. Jesse told us we couldn't go on a family vacation without her, and she needed to come. I told her that wasn't happening, and she said we had to include her because she's our sister. I said she's not my mom's daughter. She said we're family though, and she's our sister. I told her she's not welcome on our family vacation with Mom. She never would be, and none of us want her there. She yelled at me, and my dad got pissed at me for upsetting her and saying such a crappy thing to her, and taking his affair out on her. Am I the a-hole? Jess is old enough to behave better. It is probably time to limit or eliminate contact with her before the truth of her existence becomes the topic. OP told her the truth. She isn't related to OP's mom and has no place in your maternal family trips, and thus isn't welcome on it. 11 Ski Hill says, "Yikes! Your dad created a nightmare for you kids. Once you turn 18, bye-bye Jess. You never have to interact with her again. Talk to your full siblings and tell them silence is golden. Never tell Jessie any plans again. Tell Dad the minimum. Be very vague. Screw her. She sounds delusional. Hey, you move forward with your chin up. Get the best education you can, and be as happy as you can. Don't let your parents' drama affect your confidence or future. Best of luck to you. Put this mess in the rearview mirror." 1962 Michael says, "Not the a-hole, obviously. But this is a dumb argument to have with Jessie. You aren't booking the vacation. You aren't paying for the vacation. This is all up to your mom, and that's what you say. It's up to our mom. And then, of course, make sure your mom knows you don't want her there." Jessie is apparently an only child, but now in her mind, she has 2 brothers and 2 sisters. It is not at all uncommon for a young person in this situation to try to become part of the family. It's either that, or reject the idea and be a royal pain in the other way. Nom Nom 83 was taken says, "Not the a-hole. I don't know who has been feeding Jessie this diet of, you get to do everything with him all the time because you're all family. But it is delusional, and at 16 years old, she should have enough critical thinking skills to understand that not only does the half-sibling bear some weight here, but the from an affair. Look, she's a kid. You all are. None of you should be arguing about this because she shouldn't feel entitled to be included in your mother's vacation plans in the first place. So while she is an a-hole for how far she has taken this, I think your father needs to bear some significant responsibility. Her mother both is and isn't a factor here. Your father is the one who needs to straighten this out, no matter what Jessie's mom may be filling her head with. There's a way forward where you all figure out your boundaries and exist in peace. It's a shame that this infighting is where things stand. All because your dad has his head up his butt and is manipulating all of you kids. Someone, please help me escape this madness. I'm beyond appalled, disgusted, and just shocked. I've got no one I can tell this to yet, and I need to get it off my chest. 4 months ago, my sister, 27 female, passed away and left behind her children. Collectively, we've done our part as a family to help them regain normalcy the best we can. We've been by their side every step of the way in dealing with her absence and their grief. As of lately, I, 23 female, have started to remove myself away from anything which has to do with her husband. I'll call R, male 30, due to comments sometimes inappropriate, but usually along the lines of how I look exactly like my sister. I still make every effort to manage the kids to the best of my ability, and I still have them on my days regardless. The bombshell was dropped a few days ago, and my sister's clothes were strewn all over, with her wedding dress, while my mother, my other sister R, and his brother sat around. According to them, my deceased sister's kids require a mother, and her husband requires a wife, and since I'm an identical copy to her, I'm the one to fulfill these roles. Like, what the actual hell? I am fully aware grief can cause individuals to say weird things and act oddly at times, but this is something entirely different. The most dreadful aspect for me was the fact that they had already taken away her photos and begun preparing for the wedding. I'm very lucky, as R's mother and father have not only selflessly taken myself in, but also their grandbabies. She is adamantly against this nonsense and feels we are all not safe around them, which I strongly agree with. I'm fortunate to have an opportunity to work elsewhere, but I can't imagine leaving my nephews behind in this mess. I'm still in a state of shock trying to process the situation and how I can manage everyone in this too. I do apologize if some aspects don't make sense, as I've rushed this as I'm at work and will add more information or details in the comments if needed. I'm just struggling to understand what could have brought this on or what could possess someone to behave like this, as I just can't wrap my head around it. I'm sorry to vent, but thank you in advance. People have very different ways of processing grief, but this is deranged beyond measure. OP is not a doll to be swapped out for someone else. They need help to come to grips with their new reality. Scrapple000 says, I'm so sorry for your loss, but that's crazy. Did you time travel back to the Middle Ages? Replacing your sister as his wife? That's some actual crazy in your family. 00306 says, thank goodness R's parents are against this, because they are right. You likely are not safe. Do yourself a favor. As hard as it'll be to leave the children, it's best for you, OP. Grief can make people do crazy stuff. If you're away from it, you won't be pulled into it. Substantial Tough 325 says, you need to get away. Your own mother is trying to force this? How is R okay with this? You're not her. You don't share the same memories, goals, and idiosyncrasies. I'd say try to get them to see sense one last time, but only with a full police escort as witness, and then file for a restraining order. Make sure all of your documents are with you and untampered as well. You've gone above and beyond to help with the kiddos, but it is up to the grandparents at this point because your safety is a concern. I, 37 male, have been married for 6 years and I have 2 children, 4 male and 1 male with my wife. So I admit our marriage hasn't been good for a while, since the pregnancy with our first child. But it never seemed so bad before that I would have considered leaving or wanted to confront her about things. But now I feel like something needs to change, and I've brought this up to her already when it was just the 2 of us. But more recently, I made a comment in front of her family that might make me the a-hole. So I'll explain. My wife does not like to make things equal with the kids. It started with naming them. She chose both our kids' names, and I really had no influence. The one time I did speak my mind about it was when I said I would love the name Jamie for one of our children. She told me she cannot see Jamie on a grown man, and his name would be Thomas. Not the actual name, but using as an example. I asked her why she chose without me when we had agreed baby names should be chosen together. She said she thought we had both changed our minds because she was giving birth. One time I was out getting baby supplies and I could not find the brand of diapers we used, so I picked up another brand after looking at reviews on my phone. My wife did not like my choice and told me I should have asked her what to get, or better yet, I should have gone to however many stores to find the one she wanted to use, instead of giving up after 2. Over time, she has become more dismissive of my parenting and place in our boys' lives. She has said she will decide what extracurriculars they do. She will decide food and school. It gets on my nerves. My oldest and I play house together, and it bothers her. She told me we should be kicking a ball around. She freaked out when I bought our oldest son a lilac shirt because she said it didn't go with the look she likes to give him. She dresses him in red and black or blue and black. She has outfits styled and organized, and I went against that when I bought him the shirt he wanted. The day before, we were at her parents' house, and that day as well. We were arguing because I told her I didn't like the idea of our oldest doing so many extracurriculars right away, and I thought we should let him experiment and have fun. She told me it was her decision. This is something we had discussed prior to kids, and she was not so forceful about it then. Though I knew extracurriculars were a priority for her, and that was fine by me, but she knew I didn't believe they should be a burden for kids. So we're at dinner, and she's telling her parents about our fight and what was going on, and saying how I should default to her as their mother, and they're agreeing with her and asking me why I try to interfere, and that's not the role of the father. I turned around and asked her why she bothered having a father for them when she clearly wants to be a single mother. They were all furious with me for the question. Am I the a-hole? C Performance 676 says, not the a-hole. First, she has decided to be a single mother without you. Second, changing her mind and trying to control every single aspect of your kid's life. Third, wanting you to turn into nothing but an ATM. Fourth, airing your fight to her parents. If I were you, I would nip this stupid stuff right now before she turns you into a villain or someone who is not at all needed in her kids' lives. You only have some years to bond with your kids. Why would you want to waste those away? And worse, they are still small, but what if they start picking up cues from your wife? What if they also start believing that you are just a male figure who happens to be their mom's husband, who has absolutely no say? What if they get older? What about punishments? The talk? There is so much more that is about to happen to your kid's life. Don't let your wife get away with this. Fight for your right as a parent if you must. Do what you need to do. Solo Throwaway 2 says, wife's acting like the main character and everyone else, including her kids, is a supporting cast. The only way for those kids to have even a semblance of a normal life where their choices, both OPs and the kids, are taken into consideration and for them to not be completely screwed up is if OP gets to solo parent with no interference from his wife. OP therefore needs to initiate divorce proceedings, go for 50-50 custody, and then they can figure out decisions on what happens to the kids, like the extracurricular stuff, with a court-mandated mediator present. If possible, wife can be supermom raising super kids during her time with the kids, do all the themed looks she wants and the extracurriculars on her dime. And then during OP's time, his kids can have a normal childhood. If OP is not there bankrolling her dream life and acting as sperm donor, nanny, chauffeur, assistant, supporting cast, errand guy to his wife, chances are her supermom shtick won't last and she'll cut down on stuff. Not the a-hole.